We had our documentary screening today that talked about pesticide use and how pesticides, especially in the agricultural industry, can affect honeybees.
I mean, that whole 400 hives of bees, you couldn't have found enough bees to fill a 5-gallon bucket. I literally got down on my hands and knees and crawled around and looked under the pallets for dead bees. I mean, that's how frustrating it was. Something had changed in these bees' environment. And interesting enough, the only thing that changed was pesticides.
My family has been beekeeping since I was about 12. The reason that I got involved in Toxic Free NC was because we were really concerned about how many bees we're losing each year.
You know about Jonathan Lundgren and his work there, and Jonathan was an example of a progressive scientist who really wanted to answer some of these questions about what's the effect of coated seeds, neonics, and the whole field, and Jonathan eventually ran into a bureaucracy that didn't want him to be asking those questions.
In addition to pressuring EPA, USDA, and Congress, that we had to bring the fight to the actual manufacturers. Involved in the tour were about 2.5 million dead bees that we trucked around as an exemplification of the stressors that beekeepers face every year, to show people that these are real consequences that happen. It's not just honeybees or managed honeybees, but native pollinators. You have birds, bats, your native solitary bees. All those things cannot be removed from a pesticide application, so it's not like you just pick them up and move them.
It's very clear that for soybeans there's no benefit whatsoever. It's probably the case for corn as well, but EPA has stifled the study that they were doing on it. If there's no benefit to the farmers really in the long run, when you add up what they have to pay for the coatings and what the benefit is nationally from production, then why do we have these products on the market?
I can tell you from my first-hand experience that keeping bees in Charlotte, in and around the city, in an urban environment, and I also have the bulk of my hives up in the mountains in western North Carolina. Hives in the city, definitely I suffer a higher loss rate, much higher loss rate over the winter than the bees in the mountains. And also honey production quantities in the mountains are nearly triple what they are in the city. I attributed that largely to just the overall health of the hives and exposure to different chemicals that are used in and around the landscape setting versus a forested setting.
Bees that have been exposed on a foraging trip to these sublethal dosages and bring that to the hive, and then they feed their larvae with that, it has to have an effect.
Save the bees. Now, me personally, what I've done to help bees is plant sacred basil, what's called Tulsi, sacred basil, anise hyssop, and lemon balm. Those three are the three main pollinators that I've used over the last few years. I think it's important for people in urban settings to have access to fresh food and not just look at farming and garden to be something that's solely in rural areas. I think that the mindset of just having farming and gardening in a rural area, that's something that we've been conditioned to think. And I think that even the mindset of a backyard garden is something we've been conditioned to have, because if your backyard is not facing the right direction, it's not going to grow proper. So, if you have a yard that faces south or east as a front yard, it's better to have food than a lawn.
So Toxic Free North Carolina is a 30-year-old organization. We were founded in '86. We chose to participate in the Keep the Hives Alive campaign because we have a large beekeeping community, as we saw today and see throughout our entire state, and it was representative of the community that we support. And honeybees represent an important and integral part of our food system, which is in alignment with our mission. So for that reason, we chose to.
It's been difficult because there's no one thing that causes colony collapse disorder. It's the accumulation of all of the different factors. So varroa mite infestations might go up because their immune systems are compromised because of pesticide use. So it's difficult to make a big policy change. So it's important to educate people. So instead of just pointing out the issue, pesticides are bad for bees, like go organic. We're trying to offer solutions to make a sustainable change.
It would seem the only reason they're on the market is to line the pockets of the chemical industry. So that doesn't make any sense, does it? To have good advertising budgets, they're making hundreds of millions of dollars in profit, but for what? Who's benefiting?